Man, it's been a busy few weeks. Unity changed their course a little bit. I don't know if this is a video that I should make, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse as to what's going on up here, because now that Unity has started to walk back some things, it's a conversation I'm starting to have with myself. I'm going a little crazy. I was going to wait at least a little bit, but it is September 22nd. They announced the changes this morning, and yeah, I guess I don't really have the ability to do anything better. So Unity announced that they were going to be walking back some of the pricing changes that they made a week and a half ago. And here are the highlights, or at least what pertain to my game. First, there's no runtime fee for the personal tier of Unity. That's the one I use because I'm one guy and it's free. 2, if you're using the personal tier, you are no longer forced to use the splash screen. And this was sort of a telltale sign when something was a really shitty asset flip. And then 3, the way that the revenue model is going to work, at least for the personal tier, and this is what I would be going with, is once you make $200,000, Unity then starts taking a 2.5% revenue share cut. So that just means that you get the first 200K, and anything after that, Unity takes 2.5%, which is extremely similar to what Unreal is doing with slightly different numbers. So this puts me into a very challenging position. Which engine do I use? Unity is kind of actually putting their foot back into the game and trying to seem like an enticing option. You know, there's still the possibility of them just ripping everything out from under us with a terms of service change down the line. They did this in 2019. They changed the terms of service retroactively, and then they put something in their terms of service saying they won't do that again. And a few months ago, they kind of quietly removed that part, and then they did it again. Unreal is sort of seeming like the more fun option, especially because I really liked the demo that I got going in Unreal, and they seem a little more trustworthy because they haven't tried to pull this shit yet. So I ask again, which engine do I use? I've been looking for an excuse to wear this, and it was either going to be this video or a funeral. So we're here. I have made a pro and cons list for each of the engines, and I'm just going to go through it with you. So forgive me. So let's start with Unreal. Whoop, pro, con. Okay, so let's start with the pros of Unreal. The first is that it kind of feels cooler. I don't know, it has a little more of an official AAA style feel. Maybe, like, I know Unity is used by Nintendo and by Microsoft, but Unreal feels like a AAA engine. And we have a bunch of opportunities. You can criticize my handwriting on that one. That's particularly bad. There's some opportunities in the list. There's C++, there's all of the, it's a new engine. There's all of that stuff. The demo was fun. The demo was really fun. Drunk me really loved kicking ragdolls around. And the mechanics, the 3 core mechanics of attacking, blocking, or kicking, they're going to be in either version of the game, but they are solid in Unreal. Like, they feel good. It's fun. Third person is the next bullet point. So we have third person as a thing. It's already in there. You can swap between the two, and the characters work for both. The demo was fun. It was cooler. The engine was fun to use. Asterisk, 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 and that being except blueprints. Except blueprints. I'm a programmer. It's infuriating that one line of code or one if condition is going to just be this giant chunk of stuff. And maybe that is a subconscious signal that my if conditions are a little too complicated. But I don't want to know that. Because it's fun, we'd probably have more devlogs. It was easier for me to show things off in Unreal rather than having to explain code. I could either show the blueprint, you could kind of get the gist, or I could really easily just be like, this is the blueprint, swap to the play mode, because there's no compile time, just show you exactly what the code is doing in the game, and then you get a good idea. Let's get to the cons. And the biggest one is that I don't know how to do split screen. And I don't know, maybe if you have used Unreal and know how to do split screen, you could put something in the comments about this, because I'm clueless. I haven't looked into it at all. But it looks hard. And that goes for sort of anything. If you have anything that you'd want to add specifically about my game and the sort of one-person indie dev lifestyle, please drop that in the comments, because I would like to know. Con 2, editor performance. All right, I think it has been long enough that I can reveal this. A little over 2 years ago, I won a computer from Ironside Computers. This is not that big of a deal for me. This is, however, a big deal for me if I am not in this room. I'm a student. I'm a CS student. I got a Mac. Unreal runs like garbage on that thing. It's an M1, I don't know how they name their CPUs. It's not the greatest one. So Unreal runs like fucking shit. Even though I'm using a version of the engine that can run on the Apple Silicon directly without needing a compatibility layer, it runs like shit. Editor performance is a big one. I'm gonna leave a star next to it. Sort of in tandem with that, game performance. Now there's a stigma that comes with Unreal, that is that the games run like shit. And I don't know if that's just because modern Western game devs just don't have time to do anything like shrink file sizes down or optimize the actual like code itself. But you see something like Arc where it's made on Unreal 4 and I have never seen Arc running good. I want Castle Wars to be able to run on as many people's computers as possible. And the last con, and this isn't really a con depending on who you are, it is a focused engine. At least the vibe that I'm getting from it is that it is made for the run-and-gun Western AAA developer. First or third person, high-fidelity games seems to be the focus. And even though I fall into that group, I think that this is going to have an effect on this and this. Unity, pro, con. I'm just going to run and gun these. I mentioned this in the last video, but, you know, I've spent a lot of time in Unity. All of the boilerplate stuff is pretty much done. The project is ready for multiplayer. Included in that, we already have the Steam stuff set up. It can run on my laptop. I don't feel like it's going to combust when I use it on my laptop. It can run for a while. There was one time I just sat on my college campus for like 6 hours and worked in Unity the entire time on battery, and it only used like 60%. If I was going to be working on my laptop, I just can't use Unreal. I understand it. Think of the Joe Rogan "my balls was hot" thing. I understand. All of these 3 points are, I've been using it a while. I know how to imagine things in my head and translate that into the engine. No blueprints. Yeah, I'm gonna lump this one, and this one into no sunk cost fallacy. Not gonna have the sunk cost fallacy. Plain as that. I've just been using it long enough. I have an asset library. No sunk cost fallacy. So now cons. First one, trust. I don't know if I trust Unity not to do this again. They're on people's good sides, or at least they're trying to appear that way. That can fall apart at any moment. Point 2 against Unity. I have a very messy code base at the moment.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
It's very poorly documented, and that is just because it's been 2 years since I started. So there's a lot of code from 2 years ago when I was still 12 classes prior in my degree, and because of that, the code's gross. We don't have the built-in combat stuff, and that's kicking, that's shield bashing, that's lock-on, that's combos, all of that sort of stuff. I have some of that built in Unity. It doesn't feel as refined as what the Unreal asset had just by default. And the final con is kind of 2, and that is that it is harder to prototype, aka less devlogs. I can sort of also argue that it is less fun to use the Unity engine. So let's talk about this really quick. So it's harder to prototype, meaning that it's going to take longer for me to develop the stuff that would go into a devlog, because I don't really want to do this style of video where there's no actual stuff to show you. This is all just me talking and an excuse to wear a blazer. For the 2 days that I was actually using Unreal before I piped myself off to San Diego again, I was just having fun. Anytime I was away from it, I was thinking about it, and I just wanted to jump back in. It was laggier on my laptop, but on the desktop, it was a smooth experience. Things would compile instantly. I could play the game instantly. There's something about the Unreal Engine that just feels good and feels fun. Makes me want to keep working in it, which would probably mean faster development and more devlogs in that. I would just then have to redo a bunch of stuff. Now I have to make a decision between the two. Ultimately, the next video that comes out will be whatever I go with. It'll be Unity or Unreal. Regardless, though, of whatever engine I choose, there's going to be that 3-mechanic core loop of melee combat, shield blocking, and kicking. Those are going to be the core things. Also, the video I put out on the attempted port where I was working in Unreal did pretty well for my channel, so thank you. And if you haven't seen it, just check it out. It's a little long, but it's fun, and you get to see me just kind of shit around. I was able to record it like simultaneously as I did the actual development, which makes it a lot quicker for me to record and to edit because I don't need to collect and sync up all of the footage. The only downside is it does have a more stream-like or like college lecture core feel to it. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I kind of like it, but it makes the videos feel like they have less production value. All right, I'm gonna go ponder the orb. I guess I'll try and make a decision for once. Please, if you have any thoughts on the pro and cons of each of the engines and which one you think I should go with, drop that in the comments. Otherwise, if you want to see the outcome, get subscribed, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you think I should go with Godot. And yeah.